Hey, what's up guys? Will here for GSM Arena. We've just gotten our hands on two new phones from Xiaomi, the Poco F5 and Poco F5 Pro. Let's go over their key features and see what they're all about. The Poco F5 and Poco F5 Pro are new on the scene, sort of. They're rebranded versions of the Redmi Note 12 Turbo and Redmi K60 respectively. They look quite different, at least in these colorways. We have the F5 in a white gradient finish, which has an interesting pattern underneath. Meanwhile, our F5 Pro is glossy and black, with striped accents on the sides. The design for the cameras is different too. On the F5, you get individual circles for each camera, rather than a unified island like on the Pro. That's a bit funny because both phones have the exact same cameras. It's worth mentioning that both Pocos bring IP53 rated ingress protection, as is typical for Xiaomi mid-rangers these days. The Poco F5 and F5 Pro each have a 6.67-inch AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and Gorilla Glass 5 protection. However, the Pro model's screen has a higher 1440p resolution, rather than 1080p. It also has Dolby Vision support, unlike the non-Pro, and Xiaomi claims that it's brighter too. The Poco F5 Pro also packs an under-display fingerprint reader. Meanwhile, the regular Poco F5 has a side-mounted one built into the power button. When it comes to audio, both devices have stereo speakers with Dolby Atmos support. But the vanilla Poco F5 has a traditional headphone jack, unlike the Pro model. One of the major differences between the two models is the chipset. The Poco F5 Pro packs a flagship Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1. This means it should provide excellent performance for heavy gaming and multitasking. Meanwhile, the Poco F5 has a Snapdragon 7 Plus Gen 2, which we haven't encountered before. We expect the performance here to be in the upper mid-range level rather than flagship grade. There may be a difference in the battery life between the two models. Not only are the chipsets different, but the Pro's battery capacity is slightly bigger at 5,160 mAh versus 5,000. And while both phones support 67-watt wired charging, only the Poco F5 Pro supports wireless charging. As for the cameras, both the Poco F5 and F5 Pro have the same 64-megapixel main cam, an 8-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 2-megapixel macro camera. We expect very similar quality, though there may be some differences in processing because of the chipsets. And finally, both phones are running the latest Xiaomi user interface, MIUI 14. It's the Poco-flavored version though, which means a few tweaks like an always-on app drawer. So there you have it guys, the Poco F5 Pro brings some spicier features than the regular F5, but the F5 is no slouch, with a nice looking display and chipset and the same set of cameras. Let us know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.